Hello! It is Vlogmas day, day 14, Tuesday, day 14. Oh, here's a sneak peek of what we're doing. Okay, last night I left you with nothing. I couldn't figure out what to do. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a Santa Claus scene in a window that said believe, okay? But by the time I found all the pieces of all my things, I was able to do it. I even found this window, which might have even worked, because I could have made it look like it was, I don't know. Anyway, changed my mind about the card overnight. Got a different idea. I watched some videos today, and there's this thing that crafters do. It's called case, C-A-S-E. Well, basically paper crafters and card makers. C-A-S-E, casing. You case a card. I want to case a card. Does it sound like you're copying the card? Yes, it does. But basically, you are copying it. They call it casing, case. And what it is copy and share everything. And just give people credit. So today I was looking at old videos of card making because I felt like I couldn't get a decent idea. And what I did was I watched Dawn's Stamping Thoughts, and she was using this particular stamp set. It's a favorite of mine and my grandson's, because we always use this at Halloween for the, oh, this isn't even the one. There's another one like this that has all Halloween guys on it. Cookie Cutter Christmas. This is the Christmas one. We have a Halloween one too. And I want to use the reindeer, but I thought that the gingerbread man was cute too, so I want to use both of those because all my cards aren't the same. I never do anything the same. So what I'm going to use is the reindeer. You can see I've already started, and the gingerbread man. So I'm going to step by step tell you how to do this, but I'm not going to go tediously step by step. I'm going to try to go quick. All cards, just in case you're interested in making cards, all cards are based, well, not, let's say, the cards I make most of the time, you can go bigger because there is paper that's 12 by 12. This is regular computer size paper, 8.5, like 8.5 by 11, like copy paper. This one happens to be craft paper, the Recollections collection. You can get these at Michael's. I usually buy all my paper from Stampin' Up! Because I used to be a demonstrator for Stampin' Up! And I like their products because everything's color coordinated. But I do pick up stuff like craft paper when I'm in the stores if it's on sale because it's usually a good deal. 8.5 by 11. They say it's 65 pounds. They measure paper in pounds. Alright, so what I did was, first of all, I needed to stamp. Well, before I talk about stamping, I should talk about basics. Paper is this size. In order to make a card, like here's I want this card to stand up like that, and you can make 2 cards from one sheet of cardstock, because I will show you. I am going to make cards that are green, or this is actually a cherry cobbler that I just showed you. And I might be using some real red, cherry cobbler, and old olive. Old olive is one of my favorite colors from Stampin' Up! So there's your regular size sheet of paper. I should probably show it to you this way. Now you cut it in half. I cut mine at 4 1/4 because 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 is 8.5. I cut it at 4 1/4 and I scored it. Can you see that score line? Scoring doesn't go all the way through the paper. It just scores the paper. It gives you a fold line. most cutters will have a scoring tool on it, and if you don't, you just put it on your cutter and score it. You can score it with a, they call these bone folders. Once you have it scored, then you just match up your corners. Hopefully you scored it evenly, and you just use your bone folder to get a nice fold. So there's your card. Here's your card. Basically 2 cards from one piece of cardstock. Next, what you're concerned about is having designs to put on the card. So first I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the, hopefully this is going to work. My ink pads were a little dry. I had to ink them up. Hopefully they're all nice and juicy now. First I'm going to stamp. Here's the stamp. I'm going to stamp my bring it down a bit. Stamp the reindeer. And there he is. He's so cute. And then I'm going to stamp a gingerbread man, because these are the 2 guys I'm going to put on the cards. I haven't really come to the, let me see, where's my, I'm not sure if I should put the head, you know what? I think I was supposed to put the head at the top, his head. So I'm going to try one way and one the other way. All I have to do is cut it. The reason I'm pressing harder is because I've just inked these stamps. They might not be taking as well. Now here's a punch. This is what they call the cookie cutter punch. And from this punch you can cut a heart, if you want to put a heart on your gingerbread man, or a bow tie, some circles and little dots in case you want to make eyes with, you know, like maybe white with black dots. Anyway, so when you cut out these guys, you get paper flying all over the place because you're also cutting out those little pieces. So this is the way, I should have put the head this way. Yeah, I should have put the head, the moose is put in right. So now you just, this makes card making so easy if you have a punch that coordinates with your stamp. So you just line up, you're going to line up the stamped image with the punch. Can't see real good because I'm trying to keep my head out of the camera. And you punch it. And paper just flew everywhere, but you'll see what you get is a punched image. Now, I did this guy upside down, so basically what I have to do is, I'm just going to cut the paper here. I know I'm going to be stamping a lot of these guys. Cut more there later on. And you just have to put him in feet first. Oh, I might have put that. I mean, feet last, head first. Because the head's at the, oh no, feet. I'm sorry. You have to put them in feet first. Because the head's at the beginning of the punch, you see. So we line it up. Line up these legs. And the arms and the head. And punch. There he is. Alright. Next, I have punches here to punch circles. But I'm not going to show you how I punch the circles because it's basically the same thing, only you're not copying anything. I just have a 3-inch scallop punch, which is cardstock color, and I have a 2.5-inch circle punch. Now, Stampin' Up! Calls this designer series paper. It's just, it's a little lighter than cardstock. It's made to be used on cardstock, and it's less tough on your punches because, you know, you can be dulling the punches every time you use it. So what I like to do, I'm going to use the polka dots, and we'll probably put the gingerbread man on it. And now what I want to do, either way, he's going to coordinate with either color because the greens in here match this olive green, and the tan matches the craft, and the red matches the red. If I use the red, it'll match the red or the green. But I'm going to bring another tool into play, and that is, it's called Big Shot. It's another cutter. This can cut shapes, but can also emboss shapes. It's just a die cutter. You put a die in there, it'll cut the die, or you can emboss paper with it as well. All right, let me bring this back here. You put a platform in there with pieces of plexiglass on top of it. And I have a folder here, and this folder is going to, it has all little bubble, it's polka dots. See the polka dots? And what this is going to do, these are raised, these are indented. So when you put it together and run it through this heavy duty die cutter, it also puts a lot of pressure on this, and it'll emboss the paper. So let me get a piece of white paper. I know I brought it. Here it is. So here's a piece of white paper that I want to use behind the card. Now, what I did, when I cut this paper, I just cut it in half because it was 4 1/4. 4 1/4 is half of the sheet. But when I scored it, I scored it at the other half of the sheet. It's 8 1/2 by 11, so half the sheet would measure 5 and a half. So I scored it at 5 1/2. So now I want a piece of paper that's going to fit on top with a little bit of a border on my card, like this. So I have to cut it at 4 by 5 1/4, just a 1/4 of an inch difference all the way around. But this might, I mean, this would look nice if you had like a white border and this on the card. It would look nice, but I like the paper to be embossed because it's a Christmas card and you want it to be a little special. So you put your white piece of paper, you put your paper in the embossing folder. You try to get it straight so that your polka dots are straight. They're actually what I'm going to call snowflakes. And then we put a piece of plexiglass on top of that. And we roll it through. They do sell electric one. Well, it's like the AccuQuilt if you're familiar with quilting. You run it through, and when you take your paper out of your folder, you'll see you have embossed paper. It's actually, you can hear it. So the paper's embossed. Da-da-da! Let's do it on the red. So we'll take the cherry cobbler, I think this one's cherry cobbler, and we're going to put this on here. I'm going to glue that on. And then we're going to glue these guys on. I'm not sure where yet. But it's looking a little empty to me. So maybe it needs to go. Well, I'm going to do some gluing. Glue, you understand. I'm just going to glue this onto there and see if I need to put something in addition to what I have here already. I'll be right back. I think that Rudolph needs a red nose. So you could put a pom-pom, you could put a little glitter dots they sell, but I have some what they call stickles. It's actually, I think it's what you'd call glitter glue. They call it stickles and charge more. I don't know. But they come in multiples, like there's many shades of red. This is more like my cherry cobbler color. As a matter of fact, what color is it? It doesn't say, does it? Christmas red. It's Christmas red. Okay. So, just like glitter glue, you just squeeze it out and spread it around. Just like that. Oops. That's it. So, I'm going to let that dry. And I'm still looking for different embellishments for the card. You've already seen stamping. What I've decided to do is I've taken this random piece of red paper that was left over from something. I got to straighten that out. Now I'm just improvising until I actually get the measurements. Alright, I'm going to put that there, center it, right. I'll glue that on there, on this part of the card. Oh, I've got the reindeer on there now. And I've stamped a sentiment that says, warm, heartfelt greetings for a very Merry Christmas. So now I'm going to try to make sure I have the same amount of white on each side. This one has a little more. I just eyeball this. And then after it's close, I measure it to see how much I've... Alright, so it's like 3 inches. Let's see, is it 3? Yeah, it's like 3 inches. So I'm going to remember that this is 3 inches long. So I want to kind of banner cut it so it'll look interesting on this piece of red. I haven't done this in a long time, so because I'm not. When I used to make cards every day. I had a blog and I posted a new card every day. So if you want to banner something, you just make a slit like that. I don't know if you saw that. Oops, I caught it, and then you cut from the corner of the paper up to your cut. Just so that you're cutting a little triangle out of there. Looks like I got some glitter glue on my finger and it's on my white paper now, which happens all the time in card making. Okay, so it's like a banner, see? And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I think I'm getting... I should wipe off my hand. I had a wet wipe in here. Things are going to be it's going to be all over the place. Well, this can be my prototype. So here we go with the cut and the corner cut and then the other corner slit. Alright, so now I have a banner-like sentiment, it's upside down, that I can just place here, and it kind of makes it a little more interesting. See what I mean? So it's going to be warm, heartfelt, ba 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 ba. And I don't know if it still needs something. Probably a couple of red, maybe something a little at the top. I don't know, but what we're going to do now is we're going to glue this down, and we're going to use what they call a dimensional, a little piece of foam to bump up the reindeer so he's a little elevated. Give him a little dimension. Okay, let's finish this guy up. First, we will prepare this. Oh, did I bring the glue? Being that I'm in my craft room, nothing's very far away. Whether or not I can find it quickly. Since I cleaned everything up because I don't craft as much as I used to, things have been kind of hard to find. Just a little bit of, this is a Tombow mono liquid glue. It's pretty good glue. The reason I like to use glue instead of tape runners is because if you put this down and it's crooked, see how the glue will let you play around with it till you have it nice and straight. Oh, let's do a little something else for a little more interest that goes along with the dots, the polka dots on the background. I want to call them little snowflakes maybe. Anytime I have scallops, I don't always do this, but a lot of times I want to. I have a little piercing tool, and I just punch holes into the middle of each scallop, and it lends a little more interest to the card. And it's fun, and that's what this crafting thing is about, is to sit and relax. You're always doing something different. I mean, you don't have to do this. It looked fine without it. But I kind of like to do the little things. There we go. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to attach this piece to the card. And this might take a little more glue because this paper's indented, and so not all of it's going to... Oh, I should put more towards the edges because that's what's not going to hold down. Taking it out of the envelope, you want to make sure it stays together. Okay, so same thing, because it's glue, you can kind of like place it down till you think you have it where you want it. Try to get it to be like, it's 1/4 of an inch, so it's 1/8 of an inch all around. Because it's 1/4 inch bigger. Okay, so now we have that done. Now, because this is red, it might be hard to write on, so I always have a piece to put inside to write on, so you can have a nice long greeting. And if you don't know what to say because you're just saying Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, you can just put a stamp. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. You don't have to write anything but your name. But generally I send cards, because people don't hardly send cards anymore. I send cards to people that I don't see often, so that I can maybe say a little something, or maybe, you know, hint around about arranging a get-together, although in these COVID times that's harder to do. So here we have the inside of the card. Oh, and of course, I need one more stamp. Hang on. Where is my stamp? I have personalized stamps. Of course I do. Well, I used to sell my cards in a store. So I wanted to make sure they knew it was a hand-stamped card. I just like to put my name on it. People always look at the back of a card. You ever notice that? They always look. And it's not necessarily to look for the price. There it is. Little flower, hand stamped by me. And it's got the Stampin' Up! Logo underneath it, so that I am, what do they call it, an angel policy, so that you're not using their designs without their permission. They don't care how many cards you make, if you give them away, if you sell them. Oh my goodness, I just, look at casualty. I just put my scissors on my, we'll have to cut a new one of that. Well, you're only an example anyway, because that certainly won't come off. It's already hard in the wrong place. Casualty, he's in the trash. Throw your stuff in the trash as soon as you can, otherwise you get more casualties, like me. Alright, now we have this together. Now we could raise this, and we could, you know, we could put a little dimension on this and on the reindeer, but I don't like to do that when it's going through the mail, because then there's more chance of stuff getting wrecked. So I'm only going to raise the reindeer. And I'll show you how we do that. All right, so this is glued. We want the reindeer. We want a dimensional. Just brought them over here. I'm used to working at the other desk. This is a good desk for filming. Okay, so I lost my dimensionals. I got these little colorful things. I didn't bring dimensionals. So what we will do is get a new package of dimensionals. I'm going to find them in a minute. It's the way it is. It's the way it always is, right? Open this up. So what these are, it's like that, you know, foam tape. Only these are made by Stampin' Up! And it's just a little hexagon. A little hexagon. It's already sticking to my finger. Poke this side and take the little sticky off. And put it, well, maybe I'll put a couple. Oh, you can see, put a couple on the back of the, you can see there's a half stamped gingerbread man on the other side. I didn't like the way that was stamped. That's the good thing about paper. You just flip it over and use it over. Okay, so now he's going to be raised up a bit. He's not going to be flat on. Always kind of move it around, see if you got it where you want it. I think I want him right about there. Then just tap it down. I don't know if you could tell, but on this one there's a little bit of sparkle on his antlers. I put some what they call wink of Stella, but maybe a little right there, you could see. It doesn't sparkle all that much. Now he looks a little crooked to me. And when he looks a little crooked, if you grab it before it's been glued down for a long time, you can reposition it. Saves you every time. Alright, next is the greeting, or the sentiment, whatever you want to call it. This could probably be a little straighter. Let's see, where's this going to go? Oh, I don't think it's even. Well, you know what? It's going to go here, but I'm not going to put it on. You get the idea. I have to go cut a new one because this one's crooked. The little red piece is crooked, and that'll bug me. Wait, I'll be right back. I'll get a new one. This will be real good. I need it to be 3 3 3/4. I better go this way. 3 3/4 long by 3/4 of an inch wide. So that would be a half, that would be 3/4. I think. Is this side straight? Pretty better than what I had. Okay, just so you can see the cod finished. Get rid of that cutter. Alright, so let's see. I'll go. I still don't like the way he looks. See, this is what happens. You fuss. You fuss and you fuss with these cards till you think you have it the way you want it. There we go. Alright, little glue. Now this is just, you know, whatever you think looks good as far as spacing. Okay. There we go. And this, maybe we'll put this on dimensionals. That might give it a little bit of interest. So we'll put, I think because it's so skinny, we'll put 3, 2, 3. It won't cause the envelope to be too thick. And then pull off the backs. And now try to center this so that it looks reasonably centered. I mean, people always say, well, you know, it's handmade, it's not supposed to be perfect. Well, you're supposed to put some effort into it and try to get it as good as you can. That's how I feel. Alright, so there it is. Almost done. I want something else on top. These might be too, I have some red dots here. I think these might be too big. Just random. See, these are kind of big. Let's see. And it's usually rule of 3. If you put one, then maybe I'll put one over here, and one sort of up there. And if you don't like them, you can always take them off before they really get. So there we have it. There's the card. There's the inside where you can write. And if you want to, you can dress it up. Like you can put a piece of that paper, or if you have, like if you want to put a little piece of designer paper, just a strip, put a little strip for a little interest and write around it. But there, the card is done. The other one will be reasonably the same, except for it might be green, and it'll have a gingerbread man on it. He doesn't get a red nose. I have a bow tie. I know a bow tie popped out of the punch. Let me see. Where's the punch and where's the bow tie? There it is. I'll show you. Maybe he would look good. You can just take your piece of paper and put it where the object to be punched is. Punch it out. So here's a little bow tie. I don't know if it'll look good on him. We could dress him up for Christmas, and then he'd match the paper. So maybe I'll do that. We'll see. So I got about 25 cards to make. Now this looks like, are you insane? You're going to do this? How long did I just take talking to you and showing you this card? You know, when I look at it in the camera, everything looks crooked. But I don't think it is. Sometimes the angle of the camera. So if you think it looks crooked, I'm telling you it isn't. It's good. If you can believe me. So for the 25 cards, what I'm going to do first is cut all the cardstock, the colored cardstock, the reds and the greens. Cut them, score them, fold them, stamp the back with my name. That's done. Then I'm going to cut out all the middles and stick the inside plain piece of white, stick it in, glue them in. That's done. Then I'm going to do 25 dotted pieces of, like, same size as this, only run them through that Big Shot and do 25 snowflake, whatever we're going to call them, the dotted Swiss, and then glue that on. Then I'll punch out 25 of these scallops, and then I'll cut out 25 of this, and I will stamp like maybe 15 and 15, just in case some don't come out good. Put in their noses, maybe glue on the tie, and then make this greeting. Which, 25 at a time, it goes fast. If everything's cut, you just go stamp, 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 cut, cut, especially when you have a punch. So, that's it. Merry Christmas 2021. That's my card for this year. I wanted something fun, funny, playful, instead of serious, because we've had enough serious for the last 2 years. Okay, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow on the next Vlogmas. Bye now.